7, 6, 5, 4.
1, you are up.
Good morning, Journey.
Okay,
Welcome.
5,
Excited
you're
to have
next.
You with us to worship and celebrate.
I like
this
that shot,
morning.
5.
If there are any spaces in your sections where you can take up any empty seats between people, so go ahead and
Okay,
move
2, that's as
next to
tight as you can
someone
get.
and
So
open up that space on the
yep.
end. So during
All right, so
worship,
don't
it's easier
start
for
out
ushers to help
until
people
like I
find
get
seats. Really
the end of the
appreciate
drum
it.
shot.
Let's sing out. Let's stand together and worship Him.
All right, ready?
1, 2.
5, you're live.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
Okay, 2, go ahead.
Verse 1.
Start. Ready? 2, take 2.
Praise in the valley, praise on the mountain.
7, you're next. Take 7.
I praise when I'm sure, praise when I'm tired.
Ready? 3,
Verse 2.
take
I'll
3.
praise when I'm numbered, praise when
6, hold that. That's good. Ready? 6, take 6.
Praise is the water, my enemies
Ready? 1, ready? 1, ready? 1. Take 1. Ready? 2,
Verse 1. All in.
take 2. Ready? 7, take 7. 3, ready? 3, take 3.
Verse 3.
Ready? 1, take 1.
Praise when I feel it, praise when I don't.
6, take 6.
I praise 'cause I know
5, no. Ready? 4, take 4.
Verse 4.
my praise
7 coming to you. Take 7.
more than a sound.
2, go back tight and come out. Ready? 2,
The shout
take
that
2.
brings Jericho
Nice. Keep
down.
coming. Keep coming over to her.
As long
Nice.
as I'm breathing,
7, 7, take 7. 5, take 5. Ready? 1, take 1. 7, take 7. 4,
Verse 2.
take 4. Nice. 4. 2, take 2. 7, take 7. Oh, 2, 1. Whoa.
Interlude.
5, take 5. 6,
let's
take
declare
6.
this
Bridge.
together. I praise 'cause you're sovereign.
1, take
Praise
1.
'cause you
7,
reign.
take 7.
Praise 'cause you
3,
rose
ready?
and
3,
defeated the grave.
take 3.
I praise 'cause you're faithful. Praise 'cause you're true.
7,
Praise
6.
'cause there's nobody
Bridge.
greater than
Slowly
1,
build.
take 1.
Praise 'cause you're sovereign.
5,
Praise 'cause you reign.
take 5.
Praise 'cause you rose
6,
and defeated
take 6.
the grave. I praise
7,
'cause you're faithful.
take 7.
Praise 'cause you're true.
2, take
Praise
2.
'cause there's nobody
7,
Breakdown.
take 7. Ready? 1,
greater than the Lord, oh my soul.
take 1.
Drums in.
6,
Build.
take 6. 5,
Chorus 1.
take 5. 1, take 1. 4, take 4. 2, take 2. Ready? 1, take 1. 2, take 2. 7, take 7. 5, take 5. 6, take 6. 1, take 1. 7, oh, 2, take 2. It's okay, I didn't grab you. 7, 3, ready? 3, take 3's live. 1, take 1.
Instrument.
7, oh, still on 1. 5, take 5. 6, take 6. 4, take 4. 5, take 5. 6, coming to you. 6.
Brandon's probably going to ask people to scoot here.
Okay, we're still on 5. Ready? 3, ready? 3, take 3.
Again, if there are any spaces in your
We
rows,
stay on you. 3.
get open seats. Go ahead and move next to the person who's there. Fill in that space.
Ready?
Open
1,
it
take
up.
1.
Thank you. So that ushers can bring people in and help them find a seat and they can feel welcome.
Okay, this is Rattle 5. You know what to do.
1,
3, take 3.
2. Intro.
5,
2, 3,
5,
4.
5, 5, take 5.
Intro. Drums in.
Okay, 1, no, 5, we're still 6, take 6.
Verse.
Ready, 1, take 1.
Saturday was silent.
Okay, 5,
Surely it was through.
take 5.
Since when
Over to your
has
dad, nice.
impossible ever stopped?
7, take 7.
Verse.
Friday's disappointment.
Okay, 6, if you can get Brandon. Oh, no, that's a good shot. 6, ready? Take 6.
Since when has impossible ever
7,
stopped you?
1, 2, take
Chorus
2.
1.
This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
1, take 1. 6,
This is the praise make a dead
Take
man
6.
walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming
7,
out.
take
I'm
7.
gonna live,
2 going
gonna
tight,
live
come out.
again. This is
Okay,
the
come out.
sound of dry bones rattling.
Vamp.
Take 2. Keep coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, 7, take 7.
Verse 3.
Pentecostal
2, take 2.
fire, stirring something new.
7, ready, 1, take 1.
You're not gonna
5, oh,
run
red lights, take
miracles
5. 6, coming to you. Take 6.
Resurrection power
Yes.
runs in my
Nice.
veins still.
1, take 1. 7, take 7. 5, take 5. 4, take 4. 1, take 1. 2, take 2. 6, take 6. 7, we're still on 6, take 6. 1, take 1. 5, take 5. 4, take 4. 1, take 1. Okay, 5, take 5. 3, ready, 3. Take 3. Okay, 1.
Bridge 1.
Take 1.
My God is able to
6, 7, take 7.
and restore.
Okay, 2 go super tight on Brandon and come out.
Just ask the man who
Take 2. 6, take 6. 1, take 1. 7, take 7. 2. Ready, 2. Take 2. 6. Take 6. Ready, 3. Take 3. 1. Oh, 5. Take 5. 1. Take 1. 7. Take 7. 4. Take 4. 7. Take 7. 5, take 5, 4, camera, 4, 5. 1, take 1, 6, take 6. 1, take 1, 7, take 7, 4, take 4. 1, take 1. 7, take 7. 1, take 1. 5, take 5. 7.
Reminder Brandon's going to talk in between
We're still on
songs.
7. 3. Ready, 3. Take 3. That was awesome. Ready, 1. Ready, 1. Take 1.
This week, I
Okay, the song
got
is
a
God
text
Problems.
from
6.
one of our friends.
Get
His-
ready for
his
keys.
name is
1,
Brother
a
Gabriel,
2.
and, he's
Ready for
one of
Tess.
the, pastors,
7. If
leaders
you can
of
get
our
shots of both
ministry.
of them through the
He
crowd, that'd
and
be
his
great.
brother and his dad,
3. Don't change a
um,
thing.
run in Bangladesh, and there are our partners, our friends. We've been going over there the last couple years.
4.
And
Take 4.
it's right next to India. And basically, he texted me and he said, Brother Brandon, that's what he calls me, Brother Brandon. Would you have your church pray for us?
1,
Because
take
they're
1.
experiencing the worst flooding they have in years. And a lot of the churches that they have are rural churches that are they're flooding. People's homes are flooding. They're losing everything, all their possessions, all their homes, their crops. And so just wanted to point out, before we go into this next song, there are things like that in our lives. We may not be experiencing that flooding, and you can pray for
Ready, 3.
Pray for Brother Gabriel.
Wow, wait, hang
to
on a
lead the
sec, 3,
Coon
sorry.
Church, which is our ministry partner over there this week. But also, we are often experiencing things in our lives that only God can save, only God can rescue. That there are problems that we can't fix, and we need God's help. And that's what this next worship song is for us to be able to lay those problems that maybe big mistakes, or they're just things that happen to us or our family or loved ones or friends. And so I invite you to sing this out with that in mind and sing this.
6,
together
if you can
and
make
sing
that
it
work, I'll
together.
come to you soon. Ready, 3, take 3.
1, 2,
Ready, 6,
intro. 2, 3, 4.
take 6. 4, give me guitar. Take 4.
Verse 1,
Ready, 1, take 1.
There's just some problems
7.
only God can fix.
Take
There'll
7.
be some moments that just don't make sense.
6, take
I've
6.
seen it happen time and time again.
1, take 1.
There's just some problems
4, go back to. Ready,
only
Verse
4.
two.
God can fix. Yeah.
4, take 4.
There's just some
Oh, over to test 4.
flesh and blood can't win.
Perfect. 7, take 7.
There will be moments that just don't make sense.
1, take 1.
I can't see it now, but I'm still convinced.
2, go in tight on her, or both of them come out slow.
There's just some
Ready, 2.
problems only
Ready,
God
2.
can
Ready, 2, 2, 2, 2, take 2.
Not by
Okay,
power,
hold that one. 7,
by might,
take 7, 4,
by the
take 4.
Spirit of the living, Spirit of the living
2, ready, 2, take 2.
God. My battle,
Ready, 1. Oh, let's go back to 4. Ready, 4, take 4. Left side room, 4.
Turn
Okay,
around.
3, ready, 3. Ready, 3, take 3. 7, take 7.
Verse 3, drums in.
I've seen a
5, ready, 5,
that I can't explain.
take 5.
I found a healing
7, I like that. 7, ready, take 7.
I know a dead man
Good movement.
from there.
Ready, 5, take 5, ready, 6. We're on 5, take 6. 1, ready, 1, take 1. 2, come out, ready, 2, take 2. 6, take 6. 7, take 7.
Tie.
5, take 5. 4, take 4.
Breakdown.
Ready, 3, take 3.
Bridge 1,
7, take 7. Ready, 1, take 1. 4,
drums in.
take 4. 6, take 6. 5, take 5. 1, take 1. 2, take 2. 4, take 4. 7, take 7. 6, take 6.
Build.
4, 1, take 1. 7, take 7, 4, take 4, 2, take 2, 3, take 3, 7, take 7, 2, take 2, 6, take 6, good. 5, take 5, 1, take 1, 4, go back to, take 4,
Bridge 1.
7, take 7, 2, take 2, 1, take 1, 7, take 7, 4, take 4, 6, take 6, 1, take 1, 5, take 5,
Bridge 3.
good shot 5, 7, take 7, 2, take 2, 4, take 4, 6, take 6, 1, take 1, 7, take 7, 5, take 5, 4, take 4, 3, take 3, 2, take 2, 7, take 7, 6, take 6, 2 go in, 2, take 2. Okay, 7, gonna end on you. We're still on 2. Ready, 7? Take 7. Okay, get ready for host 1.
Let's get ready for host.
4, take 4.
Ending.
3, ready 3. Oh, ready 1. Start host. Take
Let's go
1.
host.
That was really good. That was really good.
Heavenly
All
Father,
right, we're on 1
we
live
are
and in the
so
room.
grateful that you are powerful. We are so grateful that you want to carry those burdens that we often feel like we need to strive and struggle and put all of our energy behind. But you ask
Jimmy
us
is
to
still
open our
continuing to put
hands
her
to
name up
you
once she's
so
done
that you
speaking
can
here, right?
show up, that
Say
you
that again?
can do what
It's okay
only
for me still to
you
put the
can
name
do.
slide
And
up?
we are so
Just when she's done
grateful for
praying, yeah.
that. You
Yeah, 'cause
make
I know
our
you said
load
you were going to be putting something
light.
up too.
Yeah, still put
So
it up.
help us open our hands. Help us
They
release
will
that
compete.
to you.
I'll
So,
wait
yeah,
to put
still-
mine
show
up
up.
until the name slide
Yeah,
comes
put-
We
down.
love
yeah.
you, Lord, and your
Don't put yours
son's
up till the name slide
precious
comes
and
down, but
powerful
do
name
put
we
the name
pray.
slide up.
Amen.
Roger that.
Cool.
Good morning, Journey family. It is so good to see you all. And those of you online, welcome. We're glad you logged in with us. We're going to
Thanks,
start
Five.
this morning with a little activity. We've been really full, and today we're probably down in numbers, but we need to practice because next week is coming. So I want you to look down the center of your row, and if there is room in the center, I want you to stand up and
Okay,
move
3.
toward the
Ready,
center
3.
so we can make space on the
Take
aisles.
3.
And I know everyone loves a good aisle seat, but we got to practice moving toward the center so that we have room for everyone as they show up. So thank you.
Take 1.
To our Spanish-speaking community, we have an announcement for you. Por todos que hablan español, tengo un anuncio.
You can put it up.
El intérprete se encuentra enferma y no hay interpretación hoy.
Jimmy, did you put it up?
Vamos, esperamos
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, okay.
verlos
I can't see
la
it from broadcast.
próxima semana. Around here, we like to talk about next steps. And there are all
That's
kinds
old.
of
I
next
didn't think
steps.
she'd
There's
actually read it in
personal
Spanish.
next
You can
steps.
go ahead
There's
and
corporate
put
next
the
steps. We each
slide up.
have something that we need to do in order
whatever you're
to
supposed to do,
just
Nancy.
help us learn to be more like Jesus.
Sweet.
So, on the
Oh. All right,
personal
I'm
side,
outta
if
your
you
hair
have
now.
not accepted
check the TV.
Jesus, that is the ultimate first
The voices
next
in
step.
my head.
Is to accept him into your heart, to believe that he's your Lord and Savior. But if you've done that, there's other things as well. We want to learn how to read the Bible, to pray, to share our faith.
Ready,
And there
two,
are
take
those things
two.
that each of us are called to do, that Jesus puts in our heart, and for
I
each
do
of
have a
us it's
parent
something
call,
different.
so this could get
So
a
I've been
little
thinking
messy.
about this time.
Can you
I was
take
thinking, well,
down
what is
the
my
side
next
third,
step?
actually?
And I realized that over
just go to the
summer,
next
for
slide a little
me,
bit?
summer is
Yeah. Can you take it to the
spontaneous,
next
and
slide,
schedules
Nancy?
kind of go out the window. One morning I'm sleeping
Sorry,
in, and the next
I got a
morning I'm
parent
up
call,
super
so it's
early,
gonna
and
Parent
life
call,
is
screen a little
like,
too
has
busy.
this crazy like movement that the rest of the year it
Do you want
doesn't
me to put it
have. And
back
so
up
with
here after
that,
that's done?
Nah.
my time with God has
think we
crazy
got
movement.
enough of the
I'm
point to
5
cross.
in the morning, and I'm at 5 at night. I'm at 2 in the afternoon. I sneak it
Sorry,
in during
that was-
lunch. And so
They asked me to put
my
the parent
time
call
with
up
the
like,
Lord is
while she
really,
was still
really
praying,
up
so I
and
was just
down and
rushed
sporadic.
to get it up.
And so he's been putting on my
No
heart that I
worries.
need to get back into a rhythm. So personally, that is what I'm going to be working on, is setting a single time that I can spend with him daily, so I have that to look forward to, and he can speak into that
Parent
as
calls
well.
down.
So think about, what is your next step
Ready, three.
personally? We
So you
also
don't
have
want me to put it
corporate
back
next
up?
steps, things that Journey
Take
offers
three.
you to
Something
help
maybe
you
we'll-
in your
I mean,
walk.
Yeah, we're
could
So
put it
we
up.
have this
it's
opportunity.
weird to
We
put it
come
back up,
here, we
so-
gather together. It's important for us to worship alongside fellow believers.
One,
We want
take
you to
one.
Three, that might be a
connect, and
little
that is
too
what
wide.
we call
It'd be nice to
groups.
not see the
We
corner of
want
the
this
screen in that
big
shot.
place with lots of people to feel like family. And the only way that's going to happen is if you have a group of people that you know more closely. My husband and I lead a group for 20s, and honestly, it is the highlight of my week. I love the 20s. I feel like I have 40 of my own 20-year-olds that I get to speak into, that I get to know better, that I get to walk alongside as we all get to know Jesus better. And I look forward to that time every week with them. You hopefully have a group that you feel that way toward. And if you don't, I want to let you know of an opportunity. Next Sunday here, we're having a groups fair. We have 30 new groups that are starting, and if you don't have a family here yet, that will be a great opportunity for you to meet the leaders of some of these groups and find one that would be a good fit for you. So mark that on your calendar and come next week so you can sign up and you can meet the leaders right here on Sunday morning. There are lots of next steps, and we each have them. And I just encourage you to take time, figure out what it is that God is calling you personally to in your next step. Up next, my handsome husband is going to challenge you in walking with the fruit of the Spirit.
Let's go video.
Jimmy has the TV cleared.
Yep.
He said it was, but I just want to make sure.
Just had to hide a Facebook comment.
Nice.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go speaker.
I am really excited to talk to you this morning about a paradox that has been destroying my brain. It's like literally scrambled eggs in there all summer long as I've been trying to process some things that I learned over the summer, and now you get to hear it. So congratulations or condolences, whichever you want. But the paradox that exists is between economics and
Kevin
spirituality.
going off comms.
And it somewhat originates from a trip I took this summer with other people at Journey to Ethiopia. As you would imagine, if you went to Ethiopia, you would see a massive gap economically between lifestyles in Ethiopia and lifestyles in America.
Take
And whatever you
two.
think that massive gap is that you think, it's way bigger. Like, you cannot imagine how big that gap is unless you see it. Just one number to give it context. In Ethiopia, the average household, meaning not just one breadwinner, but the whole household, say that 3 times fast, the whole household's economic income for an entire calendar year
Ready,
is
three?
$916 on average. In
Take
America,
three.
the average household income for 1 week is $1,437. What we earn in 1 week is 1.5 times what they earn in an entire year.
Take
so there's a
one.
massive gap. Let's talk spirituality, though. On the other side of the equation, we spent a week with around 100 Ethiopians. So it wasn't just one person, but 100 Ethiopians. And what we saw in their lives, what we experienced as part of that, was a group of people who exemplified the fruits of the Spirit. Who the fruits of the Spirit, it wasn't like, like they were kind of patient or occasionally they were kind or whatever. It was like flowing like a river. Like every time you were around them and talked to them, it was just the fruits of the Spirit coming out of them. And it's not like in America we don't have that. We see it in doses, but it's not the same. So on one side, we've got this economic gap, but that economic gap inverses in a spiritual context as we talk about the fruits of the Spirit, and that doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. We have wealth, prosperity, comfort. Wouldn't that naturally come along with loving and kindness and compassion? Like, we're comfortable. That should be easy to do. But what we see, or what we saw, was actually these folks that live in what we would term abject poverty have the fruits of the Spirit just absolutely coming out of them all of the time. And that, for me, has just been scrambled eggs of the brain trying to understand what it means. So I want to dive into that and see if we can figure out why that paradox exists. To begin, we need to define the fruits of the Spirit. So the most common place you go for the list of the fruits of the Spirit is Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Paul writes a similar list in Colossians chapter 3, starting in verse 12. He says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself. That phrase, clothe yourself, think about it. That's what you do. You put on something for everybody else to see. It's the thing that first is seen when people interact with you. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience. Bear with one another. Forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave. And over all these virtues, put on, again, that visual of clothes, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity, and let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts.
Hey, Ashley,
since as members of one body, you were called to peace. And then Paul's like, and be thankful, just because I forgot that one and I want to make sure you got it. And as followers of Jesus, these lists are not like casual advice, like, hey, if you can get around to it, be kind or gentle, be faithful. Like, these are the expectation. This is what we are clothed in. This is what the world ought to see when they interact with a Christian, when they interact with a Jesus follower. It's like, wow, they really emanate the fruits of the Spirit. Imagine it this way.
One's life.
Imagine there was an alien and it came to Earth and it followed me around for a week. He was with me when I was driving. He was with me at work. He was with me around family. He was with me around friends and everywhere in between. And at the end of that week, someone asked him, hey, how would you describe Brian? What I would hope would be said, what every Christian would hope would be said is, oh man, that guy, he is so patient, so kind, so loving, so gentle, so compassionate. That guy's so loving. That's what we want to be known as in our world. We want a world that looks at the church and says, man, when I think about people that are kind and gentle, and the first thing I think of is the church of Christ. Those that represent Jesus, those are the people that I think of. And again, that happens. We see that. But when you walk into an environment like we did in that Ethiopian culture, what we saw was it wasn't in doses, it wasn't occasional, it wasn't inconsistent. It was never-ending, flowing streams of love and grace and patience and kindness and humility and all of the things that we are called to be. And with that, then, as our team, we began to think about what would this look like to come back with this. We began to think about, this is so stand out ish in terms of what we see. How do we bring that back? How do we communicate that back? We saw an
33.
impact on our team just while we were there. For the short time we were in
Take
country,
3.
we saw this
Whoops.
impact. I'll give you just one
Back to
example.
1, sorry. 3 start over
One
again.
evening we were driving to
Fat
dinner.
fingered
Now,
it.
it had been several days on a road that we had worked
We're
really hard with the
on
orphans and with the widows and the
1.
different things that we were doing.
Okay, 3 ready.
And we were pretty worn out
Take 3.
emotionally and physically. One might say we were tired.
Okay, we're on the video.
You might even say that we were really tired. You could even say we might have been exhausted. You want one more just for the fun of it? The funny thing in that is none of those pictures are from that night. But like when you have an opportunity to speak and you have these great pictures in your shared album, you have to share them. And so frankly, that was just for fun. But as we were on this drive and we're going to dinner, imagine driving the equivalent of from the Belgrade airport all the way to MSU's campus, like 8 to 10 miles. It's not a very far drive. We're driving across Addis Ababa to go to dinner at the end of this day, and it has got traffic. And look, I have recruited in LA and San Francisco and Boston and New York and Philly and all across the country. And I have seen traffic, but you have not seen traffic until you go to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This traffic is ridiculous. Here is one picture just to give you an idea how bad this traffic is. Sarah has got her hand out her passenger side window. She is touching the car next to her. We are in a roundabout at this moment, and there are 3 drawn lanes of traffic in this roundabout. There are 5 cars wide in this roundabout. It is absolutely nuts. It is crazy. Can you imagine if you had to drive from the airport to MSU in traffic like that? To go 10 miles, it took us 2 hours. You imagine how frustrated you'd be, how, let's be honest, we would be angry and just seething.
Take 2.
And our
2-5.
team, I think, would have been that way. Yet, we had just spent the majority of the week with these people that just emanated the fruits of the Spirit. We had seen examples of patience and kindness and gentleness so much and at such high levels that these pictures are actually more from that drive. These are the smiles and the fun interactions and just the silliness that was happening on this 2-hour, 10-mile drive across Addis Ababa. And as I thought about that, I began to realize, look at we
4,
as
ready,
believers
4,
have come
4.
from the U.S. to Addis Ababa to make
Take
an
4.
impact for these orphans and these widows. And yet what's happening is they are impacting us. How do we mirror that?
We're on
How do we
4,
take the
we're on
fruits and
4,
bring that
ready, 3.
back? How do we help others understand?
Take 3.
Or how do we create and cultivate environments and rhythms in our lives that allow the fruits of the Spirit to come out of
Ready,
us
1.
at that level in our culture, no matter what?
Take 1.
And that is what has been scrambling my brain all summer. That paradox, this economic difference compared to this fruits of the Spirit, spirituality difference
hey, Jimmy?
that we were a part of and that we
What's up?
want to
Is
communicate
Kevin there?
back to you. And so to that end, I have
don't know
read,
where Kevin
I
is.
have studied, podcasted. I have done everything I
What do you
could
need?
to try
I just need somebody
and
to
find
sit here
what
for a
are the
minute while
secrets
I-
to nurturing a life and an
go
environment
downstairs
that
for a
allows
minute, you
the
sure?
fruits of the Spirit to
right.
explode. Because God obviously is the author of that, but we have a part to play. There are things that we can and should do that would help the fruits of the Spirit emanate from our life and make an impact in our valley and in our community. One of the groups of people I talk to and ask is what we call the Preaching Collective. A couple weeks before you preach, you meet with a group of our staff and you kind of give ideas of what
4,
we're
take
doing
4.
and
4 is
where
live.
it's going, and we kind of iron sharpens iron and we ask questions and
4,
go
you're
back
live.
and forth. And I had come to a conclusion through my reading and my study
Everyone.
and my experiences that I thought there were 2 keys to cultivating a life that exemplifies the fruits of the Spirit.
Take 1.
And so I asked our group, our Preaching Collective, I just said to the group that night or that afternoon, what do you think would be the things that would create that light? Now, all of those people have been on mission trips. They've been in third world environments. And they all had different answers. They threw out ideas and we brainstormed it out and whiteboarded it up. At the end of the day, it was those two things were what came out of that conversation. And it made me realize that these two things have power. And the two things that I want to share with you about how to cultivate a life where the fruits of the Spirit are absolutely flowing out of you are significant. Now, if I ask you or I tell them to you before I say the following statement, I don't think you'll understand how important this statement is going to be. If we want to do these two things, we have to do them at an unreasonable level. By unreasonable, what I mean is we need to do them at a level that is countercultural, because the things that I'm going to tell you that need to happen are not natural in our culture. In Ethiopia, they're natural. Here, we've got to fight to do these things because it's hard. And it's not a negative statement about our country. It's just the reality of our culture pushes back against these two things at a high level. So I'm going to ask you to think about these things in an unreasonable manner. Number one, we have to, or we should, simplify our lives. Now, the difference in these two cultures is massive. Paul writes about simplification of your life in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And in that, he calls it living the quiet life. That's how he terms it. But a simplified life in America is really hard. You may not. I will tell you, when I got back from Ethiopia, it struck me how complex our lives are. Like it's normative for us. Like it doesn't even feel complex because it just is life. But the reality is our lives are complex at a level that we don't even realize because we're so immersed in it. Just one example of that, these Ethiopian children that we're dealing with, they can fit everything they own in a backpack, right? Books, shoes, clothes, everything, backpack, no problem, easy, okay? That's a pretty simple life. I'm not necessarily saying that we want that simple of a life. But we can be more simple than we are. As an example or as a contrast, in America, we spend $38 billion annually, not on stuff,
Ready
on storage units.
Take two.
$38 billion to store the stuff that we have that is way in excess of the backpack, right? Like, that's insane. And it does speak to the stuff challenge to a degree, but the reality is we can simplify our lives in the area of stuff. Jesus talks about the simplified life. In Matthew chapter 18, he's interacting with his disciples. It says that he called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." I mean, who has a simpler life than children? Children have such a simple life. Think about just decision making. The difference between an American adult and an American child in decision making is vast. I like to think of it in terms of coffee. In Ethiopia, if you order a cup of coffee, you have two choices.
Take two.
Cream and sugar. That's it. Two choices, two decisions to make. Do I want cream? Do I want coffee? Or do I want sugar or not? In America, if I walk into Starbucks, I've got to figure out what drink I want. I got to figure out if I want it hot or cold. I got to figure out what milk I want to have. And as a side note, really, like, how many milks are there? I have never seen an almond milked. I don't believe that the number of milks that we have in this country even are rational. But Starbucks' own website claims that they have 170,000 combinations of drinks that you can order if you walk into a Starbucks. 170,000 versus 2. That's the difference in terms of our complexity in a country like Ethiopia's complexity. Another way to think about complexity is the idea of wants. There's a Harvard business professor named Arthur C. Brooks. Arthur C. Brooks talks about and studies happiness and satisfaction and joy. And one of the real key determiners whether or not someone has those things is around wants. He has an equation that he writes. He says your haves need to be divided by your wants. Think about that. In Ethiopia, they're haves. Their haves are just a handful of things. They don't have a lot of stuff.
Take one.
But what's really interesting is they also don't have a lot of wants. Like they're not sitting around going, I got a good drift boat, but man, that other drift boat would be a lot better. Like they don't, that's not even on their radar. And so they might have, let's say, 100 haves, but they might only have 5 or 10 wants. And so the ratio of haves to wants is very much in favor of the haves, which leads to satisfaction, happiness, and joy. That simplified life leads to that. In our culture, we have a lot of haves, but we also have a lot of wants, if we're honest, right? Like we might have 1,000 haves. We might have 2,000 wants. Like we have the ability to want stuff. We have advertising that's built toward making us want stuff. Like we want things at a high level. But what happens when you have wants is you make decisions. Your lifestyle is kind of
Take two.
built around that. You want a new drift boat, okay? That costs money. Do you pick up a side hustle, do a little extra work, work longer, stay later? You put more and more effort into your wants. And if you don't have that, you're a little less satisfied because your wants are, again, weighing against your haves.
Ready for?
And that is just how it is in America. That's just our reality. So how do we then function within that? How do we live within that? Well, if we can simplify our life, we are going to create something that is really, really valuable. If we can simplify our lives,
Take one.
we create a thing called margin. Margin. I know you lack margin. Most of us lack margin. But how do I know that you lack margin? Because every Sunday, I am out in the lobby
Ready,
between before the 9 o'clock, after the 9 o'clock, before the 11,
Take three.
after the 11. And I have tons of conversations. And some of those conversations are 5 or 10 seconds. Some of those are 5 minutes. But you know the two things that I hear more than any two things when I have those conversations? I am so busy and I am
two.
so tired.
Take two.
I'm so busy and I'm so tired. And what do those two things speak to? A lack of margin. You don't have any margin because you're so busy and you're so tired. And that doesn't speak good. Like in America, it is somewhat of a badge of honor that I'm busy and tired. Is it not? Do you agree? Like if you were to walk in and be like, man, I got nothing but free time. I ain't got nothing on my schedule. Like everyone's going to look at you like, well, you're just a lazy bum. That's why. Like we want to be busy and tired. Again, it's a badge of honor. And then that leads to kind of a question, though, is that a good thing? And I would say I don't think that is. I think that's where the way that our culture is pushing us is actually away from the way that Christ would have us live out our faith. That this margin that we need, if we can get this margin, that actually creates space for the fruits of the Spirit to flourish.
Take one.
How can I grow in my faith? How can I grow in the fruits of the Spirit when I have absolutely no margin in my day? But just having margin is not enough. Because if we're, again, honest, like if we have margin, we have a tendency to just move it toward leisure activities. And there's nothing wrong with leisure activities, but like they have to be in some proportion to what we need to be. So what we do with that margin actually becomes the critical element. And this is the thing that we witnessed in Ethiopia. This is the thing that we talked about in Preaching Collective that made all of our minds go, oh, that makes so much sense. If I take that margin and I invest it,
Ready, two.
I have to invest that margin
Take two.
in relationships. If I invest my margin in relationships, I am providing a space for the fruits of the Spirit to grow and prosper. Let me ask you a question.
Take one.
This fall, it's going to be beautiful weather. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be perfect. And there's going to be a Saturday this fall that you have all the free time. No work, no obligations, no family stuff, whatever.
Ready,
You
3.
have 24 hours on a Saturday this fall all to yourself.
Take 3.
In your mind, what are you going to do at that time? And that leads me to a story. So we're in Ethiopia.
2.
We had done a week's
2.
worth of work with the orphans and the widows, and we were actually going to a different part of Addis called the Kora district. Now, the Kora district is the poorest district in Addis Ababa. Now, when I talk about the economic difference, right, like here's most of Addis Ababa, and then here's the Kora district. Like, it is poor. Everybody lives in shanty housing. You know, it barely will hold together if it rains, okay? So we're going to that district. But that district, because the education level is so low, not many people speak English.
One's
And
live.
so we asked the director of the group, Bring Love In, that we're with, if we could take a couple of the older orphans with us to be translators, because they could translate Amharic into English and English into Amharic. It'd be really helpful, right? And so he was like, absolutely, that would be awesome. We would love to do that. So 2 young people, Yipsida and Ruth, came with us. This is a picture of Ruth. She is in the middle there with the glasses, and she is a delightful young lady. She just finished her sophomore year at university. She is a business major. Like, her English is flawless. She is going to go places and be so successful. It's amazing. So she joins us on this outing to the Kora district, and we spend the whole day, and it is exhausting, quite frankly, but it was great. It was amazing. And we're driving back to drop Ruth off at the place that she lives. And I happen to be sitting near her, and I just said to her, I was like, Ruth, this is effectively a Saturday. Like, you have all day. You're home from university. Like, you didn't have to work today. Like, if you weren't translating for us, what would you have done? Like, how would you have spent your time? And I'm thinking in my own mind what I would have done. And
Ready,
she didn't
4.
even pause. She just like snaps
Take
to
4.
it. She's like, well, there's actually one of the houses that we have the kids in, the orphans in, are the 6 to 9-year-olds. And those kids, a lot of them are new in the last couple of years because I've been away at university. I don't have a relationship with them. I don't know them. And they don't know me. But it's really important to me that they know me, and it's really important to me that I know them.
Take 1.
And I felt terrible because I was thinking about golfing and like going to Highlight or whatever. Like, I had nothing to do with but think about what Ruth's thought was. Her first thought, which she had an entire Saturday to do anything she wanted.
3.
Her
Ready,
thought
3.
was, I want to go love on and bless
Take 3.
relationally these young kids that she's going to have they're 6 to 9 years old. She's going to graduate from college. She's going to go be a great businesswoman. Like, she's going to go do great things. They're just a bunch of kids. Like, who
Ready,
cares?
1. Ready,
But
1.
she cared. She really
1.
was focused on it. So going back to Galatians. Galatians chapter 5 is where the fruits of the Spirit are. Right before the fruits of the Spirit that we read earlier is the don't list. Like, don't do these things because it's not good. Right before that, there are 3 different instances where Paul writes about this idea of relationships and investing in relationships. And I'm going to share one of those with you. It's verses 13 and 14. Paul writes, you, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge in the flesh. Do not use your freedom to indulge in the wants. Do not use your freedom to indulge in yourself. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command, love your neighbor as yourself. As Paul thinks about how are we going to create an environment where the fruits of the Spirit can thrive and grow, he says we need to invest in people. We invest in relationships. That's what we do with our time and our talents. That's what Ruth did. That's what her mentality was. That's how she thought about it. Now, that thinking is a bit countercultural for us, isn't it? Like, because I was thinking about immediately, like, the good stuff I was going to go do and leisure time and have fun for myself and all that stuff as I asked her the very question that she answered. And I don't think that that's abnormal. I think that's what we do as Americans. But maybe here's what we need to think about. maybe there are elements within our cultural norms that as believers in Jesus, we need to go, wait a minute, does that cultural norm align with what Jesus taught us? Is that cultural norm something that he would have also agreed with?
Take one.
If you think about it, I think there are things that don't. And this is one of those things. We are so individualistic in our culture. And I'll be honest with you, the reason the economic gap exists is because of that. Like we are so good at that. We've got people that are amazing at inventing and creating and building things. And thank goodness that that exists, because that's why America is such a great place to be a part of. But if that gets in conflict with our faith, if it doesn't allow the fruits of the Spirit to be nurtured and cultivated in our lives, then maybe we need to push back against that a little bit in our own lives as we live that out. It makes me think of what the prophet Isaiah wrote in Isaiah 55. He says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts."
Hey, two, can you tighten that shot up just a smidge?
As Christians, as people of faith, we ought to be thinking about and putting all of our effort into being more like Jesus.
Camera two.
If so, we've got to live like Jesus lived.
Hello.
So here's a little challenge if you want it.
Hello.
Open up the New Testament, read the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The biographies of Jesus' life. And look at those biographies with a pair of glasses on. And in those glasses, ask yourself, did Jesus live a simple life or a complex life? And that life that Jesus lived, did it create margin? And what did he do with that margin? Just read through the Gospels with that thought in mind. Did Jesus live a simple life? What did he do with the margin created in that simple life? Like that is what? And if you do that, and you take that honest read, I think you will see that, yeah, Jesus lived a super simple life. He created a lot of margin. And when he had margin, it was invested in relationships.
Three. Ready,
It
three?
was invested with relationships vertically with God
Can we
and
not take
horizontally
three
with
right
God.
now?
Three.
And that's what he was about. And if that's what he was about, ought
That
we
was an
not
MB. There we go.
be about the same thing? Should we not be thinking the same way?
Ready, one, take one.
So as we pull this all together, as we wrap up our time, I want to give you really specific takeaways. Really specific and tangible things that
Seven's
you
back
can
on.
do
Take seven.
to do this, to figure out how to live a little bit more simply, create a little more margin, and then invest that margin in people. So let's start with living the simple life. For many of us, it's just not natural. Like, it's not what we were raised in. It's not what we were around. Like, the idea of living a simple life is very counterintuitive to what we know.
Four.
If that's you, I'd encourage you to read a book. Read a book called The
Take
Ruthless
four.
Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. We've talked about it before. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer.
It's good practice
And
for
in
you,
that book,
Caden,
John
with
Mark
that.
Comer is going to
tripod.
unpack Jesus' life in the sense of a non-hurried, simple life that he lives out.
Take one.
Part of that's eliminating some wants. Part of that is just creating margin. Let me give you an example of that. 3 years ago, I read that book. This example might not encourage you to read the book, but it's true. So 3 years ago, I read the book. So after reading the book, I did an inventory of my time. I was paying attention to the ways in which I was investing my time in my life. I wanted to understand if the ways I was investing my life were in alignment with what I believed or professed in faith. One of the things that really caught my eye was how much time I spent on fantasy football. For those of you that participate in fantasy football, this is descriptive, not prescriptive, meaning I am describing me, I'm not telling you what to do. But what I looked at was, well, it's football season, man. On Wednesday and Thursday, you got to set your lineup for your football team. And there's a Thursday night game. Got to watch that because you might have a guy playing or the other guy might have a guy playing. Like, pretty important to know what happens in real time. And then late in the season, there's Saturday games. And then all season long, you got the Sunday morning slot. You got the Sunday afternoon slot. The Sunday night slot's always a good game. Always good players playing. Got to know what's happening. Then there's Monday night, don't forget that.
Camera
But that's not where it ends, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday now, I got to
Three,
watch
ready,
the
three.
shows, read the articles, hear the podcasts that tell me who's playing
three.
well, what's going on, so I can set my lineup on Wednesday and start the whole cycle all over again. So for me, what I
Four, take
recognized
four.
in that was, man, I'm spending a lot of time doing that. And so I cut fantasy football out cold turkey. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was fun. But I just cut it out cold turkey. And it created
Take
a
two.
way more margin than I thought. Like I said, you might not want to read the book now, but it'll make you think about some things. So I created all this margin, but the margin isn't the ultimate aim. Because just by creating margin,
Take one.
I haven't done anything to be more like Jesus. What I need to do is figure out how to invest the margin like Ruth. So what I did in this instance, with all that time that went into fantasy football, was right about the time I was coming on staff here at Journey. And my wife and I began the 20-something ministry. So we lead a small group, as she mentioned earlier, and we do large group. We do a lot of things in and around 20-somethings, and we invest tons of hours every week into 20-somethings. We have a whole bunch of other people that lead small groups for 20-somethings that do that same thing. And we created the margin to invest in the people. And I will tell you, there's not a day I sit around going, man, I wish I could have won that $50 in fantasy football over the investment in the 20-somethings that we've had.
Four.
And I don't know if I've made a lick of difference in their lives, but I can tell you they've made a huge impact on my life. And I know that the fruits of the Spirit come out because I'm in those relationships. Think about how do you get more patient? Like,
Ready, four.
you don't get patient just by like sitting
Hey,
in a
Jeff,
room and
can
going,
you
I'm going
hear
to be
me?
patient, I'm going to be
Yes.
patient. Like, it doesn't work that way. You get patient by one of two things.
Yes, I can.
Either you're around someone who is incredibly patient and
Take
they rub
four.
off
Four
on
is
you.
live.
And you're like, man, they are so patient. How do I be like them? How do I imitate that quality that they have? That's one way you become more patient. The other way you become more patient is you get around people that force you to be patient because they drive you crazy, right?
Take one.
Like, those are the ways we become more patient. So if you think about the fruits of the Spirit, they're all kind of like that. How do I become more gentle? How do I become more kind? Become more kind by sitting in my room alone? No, I become more kind because I'm around people that either are really kind and I learn it from them, or I'm around people that force me to be kind because they're so painful to be around. I don't know. But that's why we have to invest this in relationship. And so you can read the book to figure out how to simplify your life and create more margin. What do you do if you have some margin? What do you do to invest in relationships? And you've already heard a little bit about what I'm going to suggest this morning, but we have over 130 groups that will be active this fall. And in those 130 groups, you have an opportunity to engage
Take
with people.
two.
And I promise you, some of them will be patient, and some of them will cause you to be patient. But that's what life is about. That is how we grow the fruits of the
Ready,
Spirit.
three?
We invest in those relationships. And so if you're not in a small group,
Take three.
in a Journey community, I would encourage you to do that. I would beg you to prayerfully consider doing that.
Take
Next
one.
Sunday, there'll be 30 plus groups out there with tables. You can meet leaders. You can walk up to people and introduce yourself and have a conversation and be like, no way, I can't relate to them at all. And go to the next table and relate to them and sign up for that group, whatever. But you have an opportunity next week to take a step of action, that next step that Kristen was talking about, and join a group. And you might be saying, well, I don't know if you really have a group for me. Dude, we got a group for you. Are you kidding me? We've got groups this fall that are starting for just college students. We have groups this fall for 20-somethings. We have men's groups, women's groups. We have groups for adults that do not want to have kids around, and we have groups for adults that want to have kids around. We have groups based on geography wherever you live. You can find a group that will help you invest in relationships and that will draw the fruits of the Spirit out of you, kicking and screaming maybe at times. So if we want to live a life like Jesus, if we want the fruits of the Spirit to grow in our lives, these are the steps. Simplify your life, create margin, and then invest that margin in people. What I would love to see is that the economic gap between Ethiopia and the United States is probably not closing for a lot of reasons anytime soon. But that spiritual gap that I described, I think we can make a difference. I think we can make an impact. Not that Ethiopia would change, but that we would raise to that level.
Take
where
two.
when people in Bozeman and Belgrade and Three Forks and Livingston and Ennis, when they interact with people that are professing the faith, that those people exemplify a simple life with margin that is investing in people, and that the fruits of the
sits on
Spirit
Thank
are
you, 6.
bubbling out like a river, that they are flowing out, and they go, wow, if I followed that person around for a week, for that entire week, they are loving, they are kind, they are compassionate, they are all of those things. That's who we want to be as people of faith.
Ready,
Will you
one.
pray with me?
Take one.
Father
Okay,
God,
this
we
next song is
want
Holy Forever. Tess is
to be
going to lead
close
this.
to you. We want to be like you. We want
6
to
will go to keys pretty quick.
be
4,
people
guitar
that
and drummer.
represent you, that we are ambassadors.
Jason,
to
good one
people in
through
this
the
valley and
crowd
around
if
the
you
world.
can
And
get
Lord,
those
I
shots
pray
for me.
that your Spirit would convict us in the areas that we need to take our next step. I pray that your
So when
Spirit
he gets done praying, I'm
would
going to go to
conjure
3.
up the things in our mind,
so be
bring to
ready,
the
3.
forefront of our thoughts the areas where we need to grow and be more like you.
And then probably to 6.
Pray all of this in Jesus' name.
Okay, ready 3,
ready
ready
for
3.
worship?
Amen.
Ready
If you would
3.
stand up, we would love to continue
1,
worshiping with you.
2,
Okay, we are on 3.
intro, 2, 3,
Ready 6.
4.
Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3.
intro,
Ready 2. Still on 3. Still on 3. It's perfect. Nice. Okay.
Verse
ready
1.
2. Ready 2. Ready 2. Take 2.
1,000 generations falling down in worship to sing the song
Ready 7.
of ages to the Lamb.
Take 7.
All who've gone before us and all who will
Hey,
believe
2. Going tight again. Come out.
sing the song of ages.
Okay, ready 2. Come on out 2.
pre-chorus,
Come on out 2.
drums in,
Take 2.
Your name is the
Ready,
highest.
5.
Your name
Take
is
5.
the greatest. Your name
7.
stands above
Take 7.
all
4. Take 4.
thrones and dominions, all powers and positions. Your name
6.
stands above
chorus
Still
1,
on 4. Ready
breakdown,
1. Take 1. 6. Take 6.
Holy, all creation
2. Take 2.
holy,
4.
you are lifted high.
Take 4.
Holy,
Ready 2.
holy forever.
Take 2. Still on
Verse
2.
2.
Ready 1.
drums
1.
in,
1. Take 1.
You've been forgiven. If you've been redeemed.
5. Hold still. 5. Take 5.
Forever to
7. 7. Take 7.
you walk in
2. You're next.
You bear his name.
Take 2.
Sing the song forever.
6.
tag,
6. Take 6.
Oh, we'll sing the song forever.
Ready 1. Take 1. 5. Take 5. 1. Take 1. Ready 3. Take 3. 6. Take 6. 7. Take 7. 5. Take 5.
verse 2,
4. Take 4. 2. Take 2. 7. Take 7. 2. Take 2. 5. Hold that. 5. Take 5. Focus on Brandon. Nice. That's a great shot. 7. Take 7. Okay, 2, let's do that again. 4, take 4. 2, take 2. 3, ready 3, take 3. 6, hold that. 6, take 6.
Pre-chorus. Build.
7, take 7. 2, take 2. 5, take 5. 7, take 7. 1, take 1. 7, take 7. 2, go in. 4, ready 4, take 4. 2, take 2.
Chorus 1.
7,
End.
7, take 7. 6, take 6. 1, take 1. 2, come out, ready 2, take 2. We're on 2, we're going to 7. 7, 7, take 7. 1, take 1. 4, over to Brandon, ready 4, take 4. Focus, perfect. 2, go in. 7, take 7. 2, take 2.
Breakdown.
6, coming to you. 6, 6,
Chorus 1.
take 6. 7, take 7. 2, keep going in, take 2. Okay, 7, take 7. 1, get ready for host.
Ending.
Okay, focus pull 7. 1, you're live. On Brian.
Just a couple
Nice
quick
job,
reminders
everybody.
for you before you head out. Number 1 would be, if you are new around here, we would love to connect with you. You can fill out the Connect card using the QR code on screen or in the chair back, or you can just walk out these doors and there's 2 tables. We would love to just share with you what we're about, answer any questions, anything in that regard. Secondly, we talked about next steps earlier. If generosity is the next step, if that's the next place where you feel like God is calling you, we'd love to give you that opportunity. You can use the QR code. And for those that have already taken that step, we
Hey,
just
5,
wanna
next
always
time you
thank
work,
you
just
for
remember that
your
shot for the
generosity.
sermon.
Third,
Just put that in your brain.
if you need prayer for any reason, or you just need someone to talk to, at the edges of both sides of the stage, there will be
Chuck,
people
will
that you
you
can have a
stop that,
conversation with.
streaming?
And just, if you need prayer or
Yes.
just a conversation, we would
When
love
it's
to
done?
engage you in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to be back next week because we've
case
got
something cool happens
bounce
here in the
houses
next 10
outside.
seconds.
That's going to be awesome. We've got groups that you can sign up for. That's going to be awesome. So have a great week, Journey.
Everything's
and
going to
look
be
forward to seeing
awesome.
you
Okay,
next
here we
Sunday.
go.
go, song
Ready,
credits.
song credits. And then we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slides, CG3 to all. Thanks, everybody. A lot of fun working today with you all.
Everyone getting off comms.
Thanks everybody for serving this morning.